having a physique that women find attractive is going to be more beneficial for your dating life than being rich would. Let me give you an example. About a year and a half ago, I was staying at a hostel in Portugal. Now, if you don't know, a hostel is basically like a hotel, but where strangers share the same room. So they have different beds in the same room, like dorms. It's not as bad as it sounds. It's actually quite fun, to be honest. It's like a community vibe. Now, in this particular hostel, they had a family dinner at like 7 p.m. every night. So that's just where everyone in the hostel who signed up to the dinner got around the table to eat, and the cook in the hostel provided some local food. It was nice, people getting to know each other, right? Now, in this particular family dinner that I joined, one of the volunteers of the hostel made it like a question to go around. What do you do for work? Now, half the people there said, I'm just traveling. And that's what I said. And that just basically means that you're unemployed, right? Now, half the other people had jobs, had some decent jobs, right? Coincidentally, the guy who was sitting right next to me, he had the best job there. He said, I'm a pilot. Everyone was like, oh, a pilot. So this guy had the highest status, most well-paid job at the table. And because he was sat right next to me, I ended up having a bit of a conversation with him. And he was a cool guy, to be honest. He wasn't just a pilot, actually. He was flying private clients, so he was making a bit of money. Humble enough to be staying in a hostel, though, even though he could afford a much nicer hotel. However, unfortunately, none of that helped him when it came to women. When I joined the group, they all went out to party later that night, right? When I joined the group later, I didn't see any women talking to him. Even the ones at the hostel that knew he was a pilot or whatever, none of them seemed interested. Now me, what was I doing? Well, before I joined the group to go out to party, I actually went to the apartment of one of the workers at the hostel, quick Bible study session. And then I went to join the group who were out partying, and I ended up finishing that night, going back with another girl who was also staying at the hostel. And we were staying in dorms, like I said. I didn't have a private room, she didn't have a private room. So the second floor bathroom was occupied suspiciously long that night. Now, I'm not telling you any of this to brag, like, I don't care. I don't even party anymore. I've had my fair share, believe me. The point I'm making is that me, unemployed traveler, nothing of monetary value to offer, got way more attention, too much attention from women that night, and every other night, to be honest, than a guy who had a very well-paid job. Everyone at the hostel knew he had a well-paid job. He was the richest guy there, probably. No women, though. The guy with money didn't get any extra benefit with women because of that money. But the guy with the attractive physique, something tangible that actually drives female attraction, that guy was getting too much attention from women. Physical attraction is always going to be better than financial attraction. Surely that makes sense, right? You would want a woman to be attracted to you and not to what you can potentially provide for her. If you ask women, do they want a man with money? They'll say, yeah, I want a guy with money. However, there's often a difference between what a woman says they want and what they actually respond to. In this situation, you'll have a lot of women that actually have boyfriends that are providing for them, and they'll still go ahead and cheat with a guy that's actually their type. I know a lot about this, believe me, and I'm never the guy that's providing. And that's just because primal attraction works a lot faster in a human brain than, logical decision making does. If you see a girl, for example, that's your type, you're just thinking, I wanna do something. You're not thinking, is she gonna be a good girlfriend? Is she gonna cook for me? You're not thinking any of these things. You just see what you like and you want to go for it straight away. That's the same way that with a woman. They see a guy that's their type and they're going for that. Like, it doesn't matter. Is he going to provide for me? Is he going to pay my bills? They don't care. Being attractive to a woman, having a sexy physique, that's going to create immediate desire. That's not something that you can buy. You cannot purchase with money a girl who's truly into you. That's only something you feel when you're actually her type. Now, of course, I'm not saying you should be broke. I'm not saying that you shouldn't strive to be financially free. Go ahead and do those things. But just understand that if you're average in every aspect or below average even, and you only have money, that's only going to put you at best into the long-term interest box. Okay, maybe when I've settled down, he can support me. If you have an attractive physique, if a girl likes you, you look good, you're sexy to her, that puts you into the immediate desire, into the I want to fuck him today box. Me personally, I love being in this box. I would never be in that box rather than this box. If you have a sensible working brain, then I would assume that you would also rather be in this box than in that box. So that's what I'm saying to you. Build an attractive physique. And you're gonna see that girls, when they're attracted to you, they go for it. Believe me. When you're older, when girls are like 30 years old now, they've still not settled down. That's when they're more looking towards the, yeah, let me get an average guy who can just financially support me. Get to 30, 35, and then you can take one of those girls that's already been railed in her teens and 20s, right? Then up to you, like whatever suits you. Me personally, I'm not about that. I like girls that actually like me, right? That actually have real physical attraction for me. That's always better, believe me. So, when you walk out onto the street, there's girls that look at you and be like, oh yeah, I want him. That's always going to feel better than feeling like you're paying for a woman. When you have a great physique, far better than the average guys, you're lean, you have decent muscle development, good shoulder to waist ratio, V-taper, you're signaling that you're of high value. You're genetically capable, you're fit, you're strong, you're healthy, you have reproductive value, right? These are all things that women are literally genetically hardwired to find attractive. All these things are much stronger than external wealth indicators. Many thousands of years ago, right, there was no wealth, there was no money. The concept of money didn't exist. You only owned like what you could carry pretty much. You had to be strong and fit so you could actually be useful, so you could go and hunt your next meal, right? If you were a skinny little pussy, you're getting eaten by a tiger, simple as that. That's the way the human brain has evolved. So when it comes to women, there's like a subconscious evaluation that goes on first. Does he look physically capable? Is he a man? Do you know what I mean? And then the conscious evaluation comes later, like, can he pay my bills and so on. You want to pass that subconscious evaluation first, because if you don't, and you only pass the conscious evaluation, then best case scenario, you're going to get used for support, right? And worst case scenario, you don't get any women at all because you're not attractive. Having a sexy physique triggers emotions in a woman just from looking at you. It's so powerful, honestly. Like, it's actually a crime that most people aren't exploiting that. Exploit sounds crazy, but you know what I mean. If you're fit, you live a reality that most men don't live. It's actually crazy. If all you have is money, then that doesn't trigger any emotions. That just triggers calculations. There's also the internal confidence from knowing that you look incredible. It's an unshakable type of confidence that, again, money can't buy. If you've stacked a pile of gold, you're rich in gold. Someone could steal your gold, technically. Do you know what I mean? But your physique, nobody can take that away from you no matter what, unless they're chopping off limbs or whatever, right? This type of confidence really does show itself when you're interacting with people, when you're talking to a woman. It's authentic. Your physical presence can change the entire dynamic of an interaction with a woman. If you're talking to a woman and she doesn't really feel like you're that attractive, you're not her type, you don't have a good physique, she's going to feel like she's talking to an equal or someone below her even. She needs to feel fortunate that you're even talking to her. She needs to feel lucky to have you around her. That's what's going to turn the interaction from quite platonic into something where she has a lot of desire. When you get the compound effect of looking good, and then people are treating you better because you look good, and then that might motivate you to keep going, keep improving yourself. You can see it's like a positive feedback loop, right? You can see how you can build extreme confidence in yourself just from getting a good physique. So you need to be able to do that. Most men don't have that, unfortunately. Most men are not extremely confident in yourself, and only you can change that for yourself. Of course, there's a certain level of effort and discipline and consistency that's necessary to build a physique that's really attractive, but it's worth it because there's more guys that make six figures, for example, than guys who are 8 to 12% body fat with a V-taper. And in my opinion, it's much easier, it's much simpler, I should say. It's much simpler to be 8 to 12% body fat with a V-taper than to make six figures. And yet, most men, they've not got it. It's crazy. There's a certain level of respect that only comes from having an impressive physique, because very few men have that physical discipline. It's just not common. It's not standard. So when you do have it, of course you get treated with superiority. If you walk into a social setting and your shirt is fitting you nice because you've got a V-taper, you're 10% body fat, so your jawline is showing, you're going to start generating some type of attention. If you walk in and the best thing about you is your Rolex, well, nobody really cares. Trying to impress women through monetary value is not the way. You cannot buy this type of status. There's just no amount of money that can replicate what a girl sees and feels when she's with you. To be explicit, right? When you're pounding a girl and you've got a good physique, she's not interested about your wallet. She's not interested about touching your money. She's feeling your body. When a girl's fantasizing, she's not fantasizing about a guy with $1 million. Like, oh yeah, she's thinking about a guy with six-pack abs. That's just how it works. It seems like a lot of these guys these days are trying to do pay for play. Pay for play. I've seen it with my own two eyes, right? For example, I was at a club in Bulgaria. Now, I know some people who work at this club, so I can get in any section I want, let's just say that. Now, I don't like to do that though, because I don't like pay for play. Like I said, I'm more about the genuine attraction. So I'm walking past the VIP section that I can go in if I want, but I don't. I'm on my way to like a more chilled out room. There's like two rooms in this club, and the second one is more chilled out. There's more light as well. I'm walking past the VIP section and I lock eyes with a girl who's in there, and she's surrounded by guys who are doing that standard club shit. Guys with no game, buying girls drinks, bottles, spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars on that pay for play, right? I lock eyes with her. We smile at each other. I keep on walking. I'm not too desperate. You have to know how to play it. I walk to the chill room. A few minutes later, she's in there. She comes and finds me. I talk to her for a few minutes. She gives me her Insta. She goes back to that table for free drinks, right? At the end of the night, she texts me, "Where are you?" The pay for play guys, they don't get it, but the guys who look good, who actually have that genuine attraction, who can genuinely attract girls about them and not have to spend money for it, they're the guys who actually get the rewards. In terms of the time investment, the accessibility, the return on investment, building an amazing physique is just going to be so much better to attract women than trying to impress her with your money. You honestly don't get as far as you would think just trying to flaunt your money rather than building a body, building the type of person that's actually attractive to women. Like I mentioned earlier, that's not to throw away your financial goals. Ideally, you're going to have both, right? But the quickest, most effective, simplest way to massively improve your options with women is going to be to improve your physique, to get that sexy, that attractive body that most men don't have. Once you do it, you're going to start living in a reality that most men don't get to experience. The effect is actually insane. So implement the things you need to do to get there, and you're going to see what I'm talking about for yourself. If you want to get that attractive physique with help from me personally, check the top link in the description. That's my community. Got some guys in there already who are going to get the results. So check that out if you're interested.